everyone. So, this lecture is on intellectual/mind self care. And so, let's go ahead and get started. So, we need to exercise our brain. So, it's the same concept. If you've ever heard it, it still exists. If you don't use it, you lose it. And so, our brain is a muscle, and it's one of the most important ones in our bodies, right? We need it to live, we need it to think, we need it to feel, and truly, like the more we use it, the less we will lose as we age. And so it's really important to continue to work our brains. And so here are some, you know, suggestions to use. So one is opening yourself up to unfamiliar experiences. So really exercising your creative brain, or maybe it's going to new places, and traveling. Another one is challenging your brain to solve problems. And so it's, embracing knowledge. So I'm thinking here. So some things that we don't always do when we're so busy, but things that can really help increase our brain power and embracing knowledge is listening to an informed podcast we're interested in. Maybe it's visiting a museum, reading a book or a blog, listening to an audiobook, solving crosswords, engaging in a debate on a topic you're interested in, and things like that. So what can your brain do? I mean, we all know it can do so many things. I mean, it helps us compete, contemplate, cooperate, create, decide, experience and express our emotions, focus and pay attention, our judgments, labeling, meditate, move, observe, perception, and our ability to use our senses, plan, praying, processing new information, reading, remembering, responding to environmental cues, speaking, communicating, study, think, understand, and use our intuition. So we need our brains, obviously. So we're going to go into, SMART goals. So SMART goals, if you haven't heard them, I think I've heard other classes have taught on SMART goals. And so we can make self-care goals for us, and we want to make them a SMART goal. Why? Because, and really any goals we set for ourselves, because we want them to, we want to accomplish them, right? And we want to sustain them. So we want to accomplish, but we want to keep that progress with us, right? So how we do that is following this acronym. So the first one is making our goal specific. So your goal is direct, detailed, and meaningful. The second one is we want to make it measurable. So your goal is quantifiable to track progress or success. Attainable. We want it to be realistic, and that you have the tools or resources already to attain it. We also want to make it relevant. So the goals align with our personal mission. I know it says company there, but it's just the example I'm using. And then we want it time-based. So your goal has a deadline. We work well under deadlines, under pressure, right? So a SMART goal, let's say if it's for a physical movement goal. So we want to make it specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based, right? So maybe I want to feel stronger. So that's how we're going to make it relevant, right? So I want to feel stronger. How am I going to do that? Okay, I am going to let's say I'm only lifting weights 1 day a week right now. So we want to make it attainable. And we want to make sure we have the resources already to attain it, right? So, okay, I have the weights. So I am going to weight lift or weight train, let's say. I can realistically do it let's do 3 days a week. So I'm going to lift weights 3 days a week for, 30 to 45 minutes. And I'm going to do this for 4 weeks. And so you want it direct, you want it to be able to where you can, when you say quantify, you want to be able to count it, right? So I said I'm going to do it 3 times a week. I want it attainable. So I could have said 7 days a week, but is that attainable? No. I don't want to, strength train every day of the week. Why? I have a lot of other things to do. And then second, I don't want to burn out on the activity. And I also don't want to put my body up for an injury. But it's hard to say we're going to do something every day, right? And so once we make a little bit of a mistake, then we can get really hard on ourselves and just get off track completely and give up, right? So we want to make it attainable. It's relevant to my goal of feeling stronger, and then it has the deadline of 4 weeks. So that's how we use SMART goals. So you have already set some goals for yourself, and in our self-care goals, we shared about in the discussion board. So if you want to modify them for yourself to make them a little bit more SMART goal aligned, go right ahead. That would be great. So if you haven't heard of this topic yet, I love talking about it. And then if you have, maybe you'll learn a little bit something new. So this is the growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And so it's really great to have a growth mindset, right? Because it means that we are focused on growing as human beings. So we recognize that failure can be an opportunity to grow, right? So maybe we got laid off. And so it's recognizing that, sure, that's such a bummer and can be very stressful, but maybe it's an opportunity to grow. Maybe it's to go actually after something we really want to do, or go back to school. Also, it can be, I can learn to do anything I want. Absolutely. You can really, there's no limit to what, you can learn. And this also helps build that, brain muscle, right, too. And picking up a new thing that you just kind of always wanted to do it, and maybe it's one thing a year you can kind of think of, like, this year I really want to read more. Okay. Pick up a book you haven't really thought of that you'd be interested in and see how it goes for you. Challenges help me to grow. My effort and attitude determine my abilities. Feedback is constructive. Now that's an important one, right? Because in order to grow, sometimes we have to hear the hard feedback from professors, from parents, from friends, from partners, from, supervisors, right? So acknowledging that feedback isn't as an attack to you, and hey, maybe sometimes it is, but majority of the time, if it's coming from someone with good intentions, right, it's constructive and you can grow from it. You're inspired by the success of others, and that is a great one, because if you think about maybe comparing yourself to someone who you envision what they have for yourself, right? Instead of seeing them and saying, God, why can't I be like them? This is why I'm not, because I'm going to list all my negative qualities, but really actually looking at them and being like, wow, that's incredible. I'm really inspired by you, and kind of take their successes as a way to motivate yourself. Also, I like trying new things. So that's really a growth mindset. It's pretty, spelled out in terms of it being focused on growing as an individual, which we do need to, we want to continue to grow as human beings and develop, right? And then a fixed mindset is more of a black and white type of thinking. This could be connected to more low self-worth. So, failure is the limit of my ability. So if you're rejected, it's because it's you. You're either not good enough at something, or you could have done better, or, you were laid off because you did your job poorly. And who's going to hire you, right? Fixed mindset can include these qualities of I'm either good at it or I'm not. So that's back to the black and white thinking. My abilities are unchanging. So, you're kind of set in your ways. You're not going to get better. I can either do it or I can't. So it's a lot of this I can't, I won't, I'm not able to type of thinking. I don't like to be challenged, and it's fixed. When I hear I don't like to be challenged, I start to hear a little bit fear based, right? So, what are you afraid of? If you are challenged to grow, my potential is predetermined. When I'm frustrated, I give up. Feedback and criticism are personal, so you might take constructive criticism, or as an attack to yourself, and you'll be more defensive as opposed to open to growing. And then I stick to what I know. And so there's comfort in a fixed mindset, right? Definite comfort, but it also can keep you stagnant and not going to a level where you want to go in relationships, in your career, and then also with yourself. And so that's actually it for our intellectual self-care. So if you can think of anything that you could be doing a little bit more, maybe it's putting down a textbook for the day, reading a book that you just are interested in for 20 minutes. Maybe that's something you want to do. So maybe try to think of something that you could do. Maybe it's incorporating a podcast that's, intellectually based on topic you're interested in, while you're driving to school or to work, which is, different for you, instead of like calling someone or listening to, music, or hey, trying out a new music genre can even be intellectual self-care. So hope you guys have a good one, and thanks for listening.